going to work. If it doesn't, it will work. Just don't worry. It will work. It's Haypro versus MVP, Game 3. Here it is. I'm pumped. Go, go, go.
Haypro managed to take the first game off of MVP and had an epic defense from a really, really nasty push there on Shattered. But unfortunately, his counterattack was not as successful as it needed to be. And as such, MVP was able to stabilize and get back in this game. All right, so just going to go ahead and introduce these players we have here spawning at the left-hand side of the screen. 9 o'clock position is Liquid's Haypro, and his opponent over here at 3 o'clock is I am MVP. So Metalopolis is the map. Cross spawns is what we've got to work with. What do you think, Adebisi?
I think this looks good for Haypro here. I mean, you know, he won game 1, and that, of course, gives the nice advantage of being able to choose the game 3 map if you do happen to lose game 2. So, of course, this is Metalopolis, cross spawns, big map, a map that Zerg players usually feel quite comfortable on. So he's in a great spot here, and he is, I mean, quickly becoming the Cinderella story of this MLG as he took out Nesty, a huge upset, and now he's got maybe the most difficult bracket imaginable with you know, 1 game away from beating MVP, and if he beats MVP here, he's going to have to face MC, so pretty wild stuff.
Yeah, absolutely. Cinderella story is probably the best way you could possibly put it. We see Barracks in gas going down here for MVP, so potentially a Hellion opening. Back in the natural of Haypro, we can see he has gone for the hatchery first. This is a terribly difficult bracket, so even if Haypro, you know, he's beaten ST, if he somehow manages to beat MVP here, he's going to go on to play against MC, so quite literally, this guy is going to play the 3 best representatives of their respective races in the world. What an amazing run that he's having right now, and I just cannot wait to see what he brings against MVP here in game number 3.
Yeah, I mean, I'm already loving what I'm seeing from Haypro here, getting the early drone scout in, and this is allowing him, you know, he goes hatchery first, and then he pumps out, squeezes in an extra 2 drones before dropping down his pool, and even getting his gas before his pool, so he's going to have very fast link speed. And I mean, this is kind of how TVZ is getting these days, where Zerg players are just like, he's just going to go Reactor Hellion, because it's the opening everyone does. Wouldn't you agree?
Yes, I would agree, and Haypro even managing to sneak that drone scout out, so every little thing counts in situations like this. Factory going down for MVP, so very, very likely a Hellion opening. Interestingly, no add-on on this Barracks. Just now, MVP has the 50 gas, and yes, he does drop the reactor, so it will almost certainly be a Hellion opening. Meanwhile, we do see the SCV scout just leaving Haypro's base. MVP getting a really nice look at everything. He knows that Haypro has gas. He knows that the spawning pool is done, and most likely anticipates that Ling speed is on the way. We can also see Haypro going double queen right here, so gearing everything up nicely to deal with the Hellions that are no doubt going to be approaching shortly.
Yeah, and that SCV actually still in Haypro's base, so MVP just keeping an eye on the gas guys here, seeing, okay, he's taking guys out of gas, so that just makes him feel very confident. You know, no kind of crazy Baneling bust, Roach aggression. It's really interesting. More and more we're seeing some of those, I think Slayer's Coca kind of popularized it. The Roach Ling busts in this matchup have been pretty powerful as of late.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, any type of kind of off-timed aggression is really, really tough to deal with. You can see there MVP pulling that mule off the mining so that he doesn't lose that extra however many minerals a mule brings back. And first couple of Hellions are about to pop out. MVP has made a nice little supply depot wall here, so it's going to be really difficult for things like Zerglings to get up inside of his base. Here's that SCV scout once more in Haypro's base, seeing he's probably looking to see if there's a Roach Warren or anything of the sort, but there is no Roach Warren. Haypro not even mining gas.
Yep.
Only a single Spine Crawler in the natural to defend. He was able to get away with this on Shattered Temple because the natural's a little bit more narrow. I'm not so sure he's going to have the same luck on Metalopolis with all this open space.
Yeah, it really usually takes, I mean, he does have a 3rd queen out. The 3rd queen always valuable. He's getting his creep spread going, so that's always going to help. But these 2 Hellions, actually a 3rd one following closely behind, are going to be showing up at his front door very soon. And it's always, you know, you can just poke by, you know, go behind the gas guys, just pick off a few drones here and there. But it looks like the Hellion production going to be ceasing behind this. And actually, no, it's not. He's going to be getting Blue Flame to follow this up and getting a 2nd factory. So what do you think? Do you think we're going to see some Mech here out of MVP?
Most certainly we're going to see some Mech play from MVP. First Hellions are just kind of poking around. Hey, Pro, what are you doing with this drone? Are you seriously thinking about sneaking a gold base?
I don't know about that, but I think he might be able to get a really nice flank off on these Hellions. And if you take out these 3 Hellions, I mean, especially when you're getting blue flame, you can't lose these.
Yeah, he does try to set up the flank, but MVP is all over it, realizing the peril that these Hellions are facing, runs them away, even splitting off the one Hellion that the Zerglings are chasing, managing to certainly save the other two. Probably going to save this third one as well, as a couple more Hellions pop out to support, and Haypro will turn around and run home. Sees 5 Hellions in total, so he should have a really good idea for what's going on in MVP's base, as we see the blue flame upgrade finishing up and a ton of Hellions popping out.
Yeah, also a starport too, so I think we should see a medevac pop out pretty soon, so he can really do a lot of multi-pronged harassment with these Hellions, and especially with that very fast third base we see in the northwestern position. It's going to be hard for Haypro to defend everything here, I think. MVP has excellent multitasking, and he's going to do everything he can to spread Haypro out. Oh, we do see a little bit of a Zergling run by here. In the natural, the Hellions are way out of position, but the wall does pop up in time, and a couple of Hellions able to pop out and deal with it. So Haypro threatening the run by, unfortunately not really getting it done. Nice attempted attack there, but MVP able to thwart it fairly easily. Yeah, very solid stuff. But MVP, he's only down 3 workers, so he's doing solid. Now the Hellions engaging a little bit on creep, but there's just not enough lings right here. Are there some roaches coming out soon? No, just more lings. And this could be trouble.
Scary moment here for Haypro. He's going to have to run his drones back to the spine crawler. A lot of them are getting roasted, but he's spreading them out very nicely. But Hellion's not going to get up into the main base. This is going to be critical. MVP going to do so much damage here. Workers lost. Already 8 drones have fallen. There are roaches popping out, but where are they? Oh, the lings spawning at the most opportune time possible. And Haypro, he is going to live through this, but how much damage has he taken? 10 drones die. Income tab shows us that it is 38 SCVs to 25 drones. MVP definitely moving into a commanding position here.
Yeah, and I don't even think he's going to be done. We see in the center of the map, I see you looking at there, a medevac full of Hellions. There is actually one Overlord parked very nicely in the edge of Haypro's base, so he should be able to spot this. But with only 3 roaches out, I think it's inevitable that a couple more drones are going to get picked off, or at least more units will get forced out of Haypro here. And, I mean, he's only got 36 drones. He needs to make more drones, but he can't.
Here we go. MVP going to see if he can show off some of this medevac dropship micro, and picks up those Hellions and gets them out of there right as the roaches show up. So at the same time, a couple more Hellions going to poke up into the third base of Haypro. But Spinecrawler and the Queen going to help to thwart that. Where are the Lings to come support? More drones getting roasted, and MVP is just spreading Haypro out so much with this harass. That medevac is, what happened to that medevac? He's flying down here to the bottom of the map. So gearing up to drop once again in the back of Haypro's base. This time there's no Overlord to spot, as a Viking did clean up the one. And nothing else down in the bottom of Haypro's base. MVP is so aggressive with his multi-prong, attacking a couple more Hellions, moving up here to the third base. He's going to wait this out and make sure that the drop is able to unload in the back of Haypro's base. We've got a single medevac with 4 Hellions and a Viking there. And here we go. MVP's like, look at me, 2 Hellions in your third base. And while Haypro is dealing with this, we're going to have 4 more unloading in the back of the main, and Haypro does not seem to have seen it just yet. Here we go. 1, 2, 3, and 4 Hellions are out. Not too many drones dying there, as Haypro did respond pretty well to that. Queen's going to try to target down the medevac. Medevac's taking a lot of damage, and Haypro is trying to take it down. And the Hellion's being dropped one more time, so every single one of these Hellions will be cleaned up. Medevac also going to fall.
I gotta say, Haypro up 1 supply right now. He's up 3 workers. He's done an amazing job, but what he lacks right now is kind of the tech. He's just finished off his lair. No Spire, no banked gas, no infestation pit, but we do now see that Spire going down, so he's on 4 gas. He should be able to mass up a good amount of gas so he can get that big surge of mutas. And MVP, I think, kind of just playing that super turtle mode here. He's got that 3rd command center ready when he feels he can take his 3rd, but I think he should be still feeling comfortable.
Hellions are going to be trapped. No, they do manage to get away there. Roach is threatening to knock out some of those Hellions, but MVP getting out just in the nick of time. 3rd base has completed for MVP, and it is floating over here to the natural 3rd. Haypro has an Overlord in position, but a Viking is probably going to kill it. Will this Overlord manage to spot the command center floating over? In fact, it does not see the command center, so Haypro going to be kept in the dark on that. Does not know that his opponent is on 3 bases.
That Viking is just so clutch. Anytime you do early damage to a Zerg player and you feel their mutas are going to be relatively delayed, you get a Viking out, you just clean up so much of that Overlord spotting, makes drops so much more effective. Just solid play here from both players. MVP now up about 25 supply, looking pretty good, going up to 3 bases now.
Yeah, one more time, we've got some Hellions running up here into the 3rd. There's a Spinecrawler and a Queen there, but that's not the biggest deterrent for Hellions like like MVP has. And oh, already he's roasting a couple of drones. He's going to turn it around and try to get position on the Lings and the Roaches that are coming up, but they do get cleaned up ceremoniously. And Haypro continuing to hang in there. Income tab shows 70 drones to 62 SCVs, but it's 3 bases to 3 bases, and the Mech army of MVP is getting scarier and scarier as time drags on.
Yeah, I mean, he's already got 2 Thors out there. I don't think that there's any actual turret coverage, so if some Mutalisks do pop out soon, it could do some damage. But, I mean, you look at the production tab, you see 2 Mutas, and that's just not enough. You know, Haypro, he's spread so thin on his gases. 1-1 is just finishing. He's getting Baneling speed. He just got Roach speed, so he actually does have about 700 gas in the bank, though, so he's got to wait for, I guess, these 4 Overlords to pop out. Then he'll be good to get that
pop,
surge.
And he does, in fact, go up to 9 Mutas.
There we go.
Same time, we do see that MVP still using these Blue Flame Hellions to great effect, controlling the map, keeping eyes on the Xel'Naga towers. Haypro's going to take the 12 o'clock main before the natural. This is a really smart idea, in my opinion, as MVP's going to check this. Well, now he's going to have the natural as well, so I take it back. Thought process withdrawn. As we do see MVP poking around here, scanning to pick off a few of these tumors, limiting Haypro's vision as best he can. MVP is just so good about controlling the map, limiting vision, and taking away from Zerg's very, very powerful mobility while on creep.
And MVP, man, making 3 Thors at a time here, actually just starting his 4th command center now, but he is getting dangerously close to maxed out, and Haypro is just on par with supply, and that Mech army, man, especially with the +2 attack is just a fearsome thing. The Muta's looking to do some harass, but some nice turrets here to help zone out, and as the Thors show up, these Mutas have no choice but to flee. It looks like 1 or 2 getting picked off there, but no major losses.
Yep. Haypro's gone up to 86 drones to the 66 SCVs of MVP. 89 drones now. Oh my gosh, he's got so many drones. A lot of siege tanks here in MVP's natural. We see the Hellions poking out 1 last time. Haypro, you are making too many drones, man. Yeah. He's on 96. He's got 13 more on the way. It's going to put him over 100 drones. One more time, Hellions going to come up, and this time they're going to run into a couple of Banelings. Well-positioned Roaches doing a lot of damage, so these Hellions are mostly going to be dealt with. Quite frankly, MVP's doing Haypro a favor at this point by killing drones, because he has built a ton, 95 drones out right now for Haypro.
And I'm kind of surprised to not see an Infestation Pit. I mean, his opponent is going pure Mech, and if you don't want Infestors, you're really at least going to need a Hive to deal with this kind of competition, don't you think?
I think ultimately Broodlords are the best unit to have against a Meching Terran, but I feel like the best time to get Broodlords is on the first reload. I think Mutalisk Roach is how I would like to engage this initially, and then after that, remax with Broodlord Roach Infester. So. We do see these Mutas for Haypro just poking around the map. He's going to try to find an opening down here at the 3rd, but there's some good turret coverage, actually excellent turret coverage in the Thor there, so it's going to be very, very difficult for Mutas to get anything done in terms of harassment. Haypro is still droning. 3 more drones on the way. It's going to put him at 98 drones. A lot of upgrades coming down, +2 air attack, pneumatized carapace, that's Overlord speed, missile attacks and melee attacks as well. A lot of Zerglings in production right now. I'm not sure what Haypro's hoping to achieve with these Zerglings. Maybe he's going to just go pure Roach Baneling. This is something that we've seen work against Mech in the past.
That's bold. I mean, he's maxed out, and there's the 20-some-odd Banelings in production, so that definitely looks like what his plan is. And MVP is taking the gold now, and I kind of feel like this is going to force Haypro's hand a little bit. You know, he's got to do something. He's maxed out. He's got somewhat of a bank, but he's still, you know, he's got his Infestation Pit, but no Hive Tech or anything. It's kind of a tough spot to be in. MVP is just playing so well. I think we might see, you know, a Ghost Academy soon so he can deal with that Hive Tech. But I'm also wondering if he's been keeping tabs on scanning the main. He actually has scanned the main. He's seen the Infestation, but he scanned before that Hive actually started.
Oh, here we go. Banelings and Zerglings and Roaches. Oh my, Haypro is going to go for it here. There's only 3 siege tanks. Banelings are going to crash right in between the the 2 orbitals here, and they're actually all going to detonate on this. Oh my God, the Baneling detonations are pretty good. Huge explosion there. Haypro knocking out 30 SCVs with those Banelings. Definitely doing some nice damage, but now we're in a situation where he's just thrown away a lot of units. This is almost certainly going to prompt a push from MVP. Oh, yeah. Haypro going to remax with Zerglings, and I don't know what I think about this. We're just going to have to wait and see.
Yeah, 104 Zerglings. That is a lot of Zerglings, but I don't know either, and you got to keep in mind right now, 100 drones to 37 SCVs. So you look at the supply, it's like, oh, Haypro's up almost 40 supply right now, but he's got 60 more drones, so his army is relatively puny compared to his opponents, and with 4 orbital command centers and a gold base, it's not like MVP is going to be starving for minerals at all.
You're absolutely right. Haypro just trying to set up some position. He's been doing so good with his flanking lately. He's got Lings and Banelings and Roaches all set up at the north side of the map. Lings and Banelings and Infestors and Roaches all set up at the south side of the map, so we can actually see this flank materializing, and I see Eunice moving on the minimap. Haypro might be going for it, and he is in fact gonna go for it. We've got Eunice pouring in from both sides, Roaches and Banelings and Zerglings and Infestors, and I have no idea what's happening right now. Adabeezy, what do you think, man?
I think there's just too many Thors. The Thors, there's one-shotting Banelings as they roll in, and now MVP, though, still down about 35 supply. We got 50 more Lings in production, but man, these upgraded mech units are just so good. MVP actually already upgrading air weapons as well, so he may be looking to do some kind of crazy transition if this push doesn't straight up end the game, but this push is just continuing to get closer and closer to the natural, closer and closer to the heart of the Zerg base, the main base, and Ultralisk Cavern just finishing, so what do you think? 6 Ultras going to pop out?
Cavern is up. Some Ultras could definitely help. Chitinous Plating starting immediately. I see no Ultras on the production tab. There go 3 Ultras on the production tab. 196 to 131. The drones, Haypro still has 100 drones. That means it's a 130 supply army to 130 supply army. And he is maxed out. Honestly, man, he needs to lose some drones right now. It would not be bad at all. MVP is spending every ounce of income that he has, just mining this gold base with pure mules. He's got a hard contain on Haypro here. We see another flank being set up. Banelings at the back, Banelings at the front. Ultralisk 8 in production, so we're going to have one more chance for Haypro to bust out here. I will say this, if Haypro can clean up this big metal army, MVP is going to have an incredibly hard time replacing it. The Ultralisks are spawning, so here we go. It is just a matter of time. One shot from this one Ultralisk is going to be brought right into the fray. There's some extra energy on that Queen, so he could throw down the Transfuse. He will throw down the Transfuse. And it looks like some Banelings also getting pulled into the mix. Haypro's trying to be as patient as possible. One Ultra going to come forward. He's going to trade an Ultralisk for 3/4 of a Siege Tank. That's not a good exchange at all. And, oh man, I don't know what to think. I don't know what's going to happen.
I don't know either. The Chitinous Flame going to be finishing, and it looks like 2 more Ultras in production, but I really feel like he's got to go soon. And you know what? I feel like he's got a moderate amount of larva, so he can, pump out a ton more units after he charges in with this, setting up for that big flank. But the natural hatchery, I think, now in range of that tank, so it's getting close to George. Here he goes.
Going to go for it. Ultralisk coming out. There's a lot of Ultras in the mix. Zerglings and Banelings as well. A lot of tanks going up, but the tanks are so well spread out. We got more units coming down from behind. Big Baneling detonation. A couple of Siege tanks are going to fall now. Could Haypro possibly bust out? He's still at 185 supply, but he's going to be relying on the Remax. 66 Lings and 6 Ultras are about to pop out. MVP is just consistently advancing his position. If we look at the health of these units, Haypro streaming out with more and more units, Lings and Ultras, and I'm not believing what I'm seeing right now. Adabeezy, Haypro might have done it. This is not even making sense to me right now.
I am somewhat speechless right now. He busted through that like it was nothing, and now he's got 10 Ultras in production. MVP, he's taking the gold as well now. Hatchery about to go down there. He's just doing such a fantastic job. During that too, MVP picked off a couple drones here, so Haypro's down to 90 drones, which is that's another favor for him right there. He's got more supply now to really beef up his army. But, MVP's got that bottom center base. His gold is actually just about mined out, but there's no reason that, despite being down 70 supply, things look terrible. I really think he can certainly hold on for a while.
Haypro, stop building drones, man. You don't need to replace those. He's got 15 drones in production. That's going to put him up to, oh wait, is he building Spinecart? What? He's down to 77 drones, so that's going to put him at 92. 92 drones I can live with. He's got so many drones in production. He's just trying to populate this gold base, I suppose. Taking gases up at the top of the map. Haypro is maxed out once again, and MVP sitting at about 122 supply. MVP has really thinned out this gold quite a bit. He's purely dropping mules here, just a couple of SCVs mining. That is a lot of Ultras. The one thing that I worry about here is Ultras. They're really good against Mech. A little bit of a drop coming here. Where is that drop ship? Okay, this up at the top of the map at the 12 o'clock spawn. A couple of Hellions unloading. Ultralisks can be really good against Thors and things like that, but when you get this much supply tied up in Ultralisks, that's like 15 times 6. What is that, 90 supply of
Don't
Ultras?
do math on stream.
Yeah, my math is terrible, but that is so much of Haypro's. Like, his whole army is Ultralisk. He's got 15 Ultras and a Zergling, and he's maxed.
That is pretty insane. Like when all those Thors are just sitting on the high ground with a planetary behind them, the Ultras, they just kind of line up, single file, and it's hard to really attack. So Haypro's got to be careful, but he's still got money in the bank. all these bases are saturating. He's mining on a ton of guys. Just got a great gas income. Just, you know, everything he needs. I kind of feel like a Spire is something we should see soon. Like, does he? I don't think he has a Spire at all, and so that just means Broodlords will never come. So he's really committed heavily. But we do have 26 more Banelings coming out as Hellions just continue to roast drones. But oh my God, 57 drones. He just killed. He just killed like. How many drones did he just kill?
40 drones. Workers lost tab shows 99 drones lost in total. This is good for Haypro in my opinion because it frees up a lot of supply, and he's filling that out with Zerglings and Infestors and more Ultralisks. I don't feel like Haypro's in a position where he needs all these drones, but what I do feel like is that he's in a position where he does need to make something happen. I don't think he wants to fight a fully maxed Terran army because he's not going to get another remax with 15 more Ultras. He just doesn't have the economy for that. Greater Spire is beginning, so Hater has also lost a ton of Overlords. He's at 190 of 158, and I feel like he's gearing up to maybe do something. Some Ling's going to run into some Thors and Hellions and Siege Tanks, and a little bit of an engagement starting to shape up down here.
Yeah, and I do also have to point out there was a scan in the main base, so MVP knows exactly that Broodlords will be coming, and that's why I think he's got 4 Vikings already out, and those are hunting Overlords. So, doing a great job being all over the place. But MVP now pushing forward, and in come the Ultralisk.
This is going to be it. MVP going to try to spread out these Thors as best he can. Big engagement. Ultras just go through Thors so very quickly, but the DPS of this Terran army is absolutely off the chain. Siege Tanks doing what they can. The supplies for the first time in the game going to swing heavily in favor of MVP. He's up to 149 supply to 129 of Haypro. 4 Ultras and 12 Lings on the way. This is looking a little bit scary for our Zerg player.
And you know what? That engagement right there, 3-3 was about 5 in-game seconds from finishing as Haypro charged in. It finished right as all of his Ultras were pretty much dead. And I can't help but think 3-3 would actually make quite a difference there, especially when, MVP is 3-2 on Mech, and those Mech units, man, they're pretty good.
Yeah, Haypro with a hard supply block right now. He cannot build anything. Wow. He's not even producing Overlords. And MVP is up to 161, 174 supply. Now MVP is just pumping out so much heavy metal. Thors and Siege Tanks and Vikings in mass. And Haypro, he can't build anything. He's supply blocked.
He's not making Overlords.
Not got that much money. He's not making Overlords. And, oh man, Hater has played just an amazing game. He's had such an amazing tournament. He has really silenced so many doubters here. Everybody that's ever said that Haypro is not worthy of the prestigious Liquid tag in front of his name has absolutely been proven wrong here at this tournament. But unfortunately, I do feel like his run is coming to an end as he still hasn't produced any Overlords. He looks like he's maybe coming apart a bit at the seams here, realizing that his run here, this magical run at MLG, may be reaching its conclusion.
Yeah, and there we go. Finally 5 Overlords in production, but MVP has such a foothold. He's maxed out, and now he's going to start banking up money. And just 10 Thors, 10 Thors, and that's kind of like a critical mass of Thors. So like Ultras engaging off creep, as they run in, they'll just drop like flies, right?
Yeah. Absolutely, you are correct. The Ultras will go down so fast, especially with those 3-3 upgrades on the Thors. Thors with 3-3 do so much damage. We'll just look here at the 39 damage from Thor's hammer, and they do attack twice. That is a massive amount of DPS. Ultras, of course, do 47 damage to armored, so they do quite well, and they do splash, but
late. That's the problem.
Yeah, exactly, and the Thors are just going to kill everything so quickly. MVP is maxed out, 192 supply against 118. Hater's going to try to make some Corruptors and get some Broodlords into play. But I feel like maybe, really nice fungal there on some Hellions. So trying to make something happen, but look at this Mech ball, man. We've got Haypro in full retreat here. He has had an amazing tournament. He's shown some incredible games. And, maybe at moments he had this one in the bag, but perhaps making a few wrong decisions. Broodlords are morphing right now. 4 Broodlords on the way. There's just so many Thors, though. They're going to do so much damage so incredibly fast that it's hard for me to fathom a situation where Haypro comes out on top.
It's really amazing this game's still going at the 33-minute mark. When you look back at how it really felt like Haypro got relatively crippled by all of the Hellion harass, but, fighting so hard. But now, the Broodlord switch, but you know what? MVP even getting the +2 attack, and man, just killing more drones right now. 15 drones left, so Haypro's army, what he has now, he has to win with it, and I just can't really see that happening.
Yeah, he's not building anything. He's more or less completely broke. 500 minerals remaining for Haypro, 107 supply, and it looks like he is just finally going to go for it. He's going to distance mine from the gold as these Broodlords push forward down this bottom lane. He's going to be pushing into a lot of Thors and Siege Tanks, and even Vikings. If we look here on the unit set, we can see 9 Vikings out for MVP, and these Vikings are going to be so effective against these Broodlords. You can see already picking away before the fight even begins. A couple of corruptions being cast there, but here we go. Haypro finally going to make the last engagement. Ultra is going to run forward. Broodlords doing everything they can. Fungal going down on some Hellions, but the army of MVP just too immense. The heavy metal just too much. He's not even fighting with everything and just cruising right through. GG from Haypro. What an amazing tournament for Liquid Haypro.
Look at that feature station. Amazing amount of people turning up to watch that match, watching Haypro's legendary run through Championship Sunday. Again, Haypro took down Illusion, Select, Kiwikaki, Nestea, and eventually fell to MVP there, and that gives him the #2 spot in our top 10 countdown of the best European, the best games in MLG history featuring European players. And now, ladies and gents, it is time for #1. We're going to take a quick break, and we'll be back with #1. But before we do go to a break, I made a little bit of a bet with the chat, and if they could guess what the #1 matches, they get something, but no one has guessed it yet. It was commentated. I've given so many hints, but no one has guessed it. #1 game of MLG history featuring an EU player is coming up next.
Harassment!